A big time matchup between the Washington Huskies and Oregon State Beavers is a highlight of this weekend. Both teams have been really fun to watch for different reasons, play different styles of football, and this one could be another entertaining game. We didn't expect Utah to put up the number of points as they did against Washington last week, and Oregon State's offense can be really explosive too and can make that happen as well. So this is going to be really fun. It's whether or not which defense steps up the most. Because when you look at both sides, Washington's defense hasn't exactly been lights out. They haven't exactly slowed teams down, especially late. They gave up 33 points to Stanford. They gave up 42 to USC. No one can really blame you for that. But Stanford and Utah, you have 33 points to Stanford, you have 28 points to Utah. It's not exactly a dominating performance, and teams don't have a problem moving the ball against them sometimes. So I think lately they've taken a step back, and this is a good opportunity for them to remind everyone that they can be a factor as well. There's a lot of talented players on Washington's defense, and we know what the offense is capable of, but you need to get more stops. You can't keep winning games by 7 points, 10 points. When you get to the college football playoff, it's going to be over. It's going to be a long night if you cannot create stops, if you cannot expand the lead. I mean, even in the Pac-12 championship, we all assume that Washington and Oregon are going to play again. And if you can't stop that offense of Oregon, you're going to have to rely on your offense to score. And I think that if you're going to bet on an offense, Washington's offense is pretty good to bet on, but also at the same time, you need to find stops. Washington's offense has shown that at times they can struggle. And right now, with Jalen McMillan's health still kind of up in the air, we're not really sure what we're getting with this offense. Obviously, Romeo Dunze is really good, and Jalen Polk is stepped up as well, and they have depth. But I think that you're still seeing a team that can be kept in check, and I think that they can be held and limited more so than a lot of people believe. And if there's a team that could do it, it's Oregon State. Now, Oregon State, their secondary, I think, is the biggest concern of that defense, which doesn't bode well when you're facing offense like Washington, who likes to throw the football. But I think the Beavers have some talent up front that could make life difficult for the Huskies. On the offense, Damian Martinez is a stud, and you shouldn't be surprised by that if you watched him last year. If you paid attention to this channel, you saw the love for Damian Martinez. He's going to be good. He's going to be a fun one to watch in this game. So Deshaun Fenway, you look at what the running back group has to offer. There's a number of options. Then you throw DJ Uiagalelei in that as well. He is a dynamic runner too, and he's a big body that could make life difficult for Washington defensively. And right now, when you look at these two teams, Washington's averaging 7.7 yards per play. Oregon State's averaging nearly 7 yards per play as well. And I think that's crazy. I think that's insane. And I think that goes kind of flies under the radar. And right now, that's really where I think Oregon State can find ways to be competitive is hitting those explosive plays. They kind of lull you to sleep, maybe with that ground and pound, that physical approach, and then you hit a play action play over the top. And they have speed at wide receiver. They maybe don't have size like Washington does, but they have speed that can make life difficult for Washington's secondary. And that's really where I think certain areas of this game stand out because I think that there's a lot to like about this Oregon State team. There's a lot of players on this offense that are really fun. The offensive line, super dominant. I think is one of the best groups in college football still. And that's what makes them so good is they give their playmakers time to make plays and they give their quarterback time to make throws. And if you're able to create running room, if you're giving your playmakers time, good things are going to come. Now, the defense obviously has to do their part. Maybe not, it doesn't struggle as much as Washington's defense, but still a group that is giving up over 20 points per game. And right now, this isn't a team that runs away with games, excluding obviously the last game against Stanford. But when you look at the games, the 4 games before that, Colorado, they beat by 7. Arizona, they lost by 3. UCLA, they won by 12. And even Cal, they put up 52 points, but they only won by 12. This is a team that is not going to run away for the most part, especially not against Washington. But they are going to make life difficult. And they've shown that they can score a lot of points, but they can also win a slower paced game. The matchups is really where this all starts. To me, it's all about the wide receivers for Washington versus the secondary of Oregon State. I think Oregon State has a lot of talent in the secondary, but do they have as much talent as Washington does at wide receiver? Do they have the ability to cover for a long period of time? Do they have the ability to slow down that speed, slow down that size that Washington has? Because guys like Odunze and Polk are huge, and they are going to make life very difficult and very frustrating if you're an Oregon State defender. On the flip side, Washington has to be very physical. Oregon State wants to be physical at the line of scrimmage. They want to run the football. They want to set up the play action pass, and that's how they're going to win. They're going to dictate the style of play. They're going to dictate the physicality. And if Washington can handle that, then they're in good hands. The quarterbacks have to make smart decisions. Turnovers will easily flip the momentum to the other side. Michael Penix has done a pretty good job so far of taking care of the football. Same with DJ Uiagalelei. Penix has thrown 7 interceptions. DJ's thrown 4, and I think that that shouldn't be surprising. I believe that Michael Penix, with how many times he throws the football, he should be throwing more interceptions. There's just more opportunities to do that. DJ's been very efficient though, and I think that I'd like to see him more involved in the rushing attack. I think that's just to me. I've been saying it all year for Oregon State. DJ has to be more involved in the rushing attack because he's an impact player as a runner. Now, obviously, that helps him as a passer too, but I really want to see him more involved in the rushing attack. I want to see more quarterback designed runs. And maybe you don't want that because you want to keep him healthy. But I think that he is at his best when you are getting him heavily involved in both the run and passing attacks. And if you're able to do that, then you're in good hands. When it comes to picking this game, to me, Washington is the better team. I think that they're on a mission right now. They have a special story, but Oregon State can do a lot of things to dictate this pace. They can slow things down. They can be efficient like they had. They're really going to want to be physical. I think the biggest thing that they can do is be physical on both sides of the football. Jam those wide receivers at the line of scrimmage, win the trenches, and you'll be just fine. The problem is if you give up explosive plays, Washington is going to kill you all game. They are going to run away with this one, and they are too explosive. And right now, it feels like Washington, even with their struggles, they find ways to win. They find ways to pull out big time wins. They find ways to put up enough points. And right now, they're on a tear, and no one's been able to stop them. So right now, I'm leaning Washington, but don't be surprised if Oregon State makes things interesting this weekend.